Hey guys, I'm going to talk for a couple of minutes about my experience dealing with Carvana for the purchase of my 2024 Toyota RAV4. The experience has been okay, but there are some things that you need to be aware of, and I'm going to tell you about those in my video. Just little frustrations and additional costs that you may or may not be aware of when you deal with Carvana. So let's dive in. I was going to do this as a short, but I've got a little too much to say and I want to take my time. So there are a lot of YouTube videos out there, guys, warning you about dealing with Carvana. It is a struggling company. It's an online company, an online car dealer, used car dealer. And there are pros and cons dealing with an online used car dealer. So here's the good, okay? I was in the market for a Toyota RAV4. I wanted a newer model RAV4 with low miles. I still wanted factory warranty from Toyota. I had a Jeep Cherokee that I traded in for this. And I really liked my Cherokee. Had a lot of really cool features on it, but it had a leak on the passenger side footwell that I took in multiple times and it just couldn't be fixed. Thank goodness it was still under warranty, so I never had to pay anything. But the body shop tried repeatedly to repair that leak, and it was a no-go. The Cherokee did not have a sunroof. I have no idea where the water was coming in at, but I knew I didn't want to keep it. So I traded for this RAV4. Now, I really wanted a RAV4 in either the Adventure trim or the TRD off-road trim, because I do light off-roading from time to time in the mountains around Tennessee, and not extreme rock crawling or things like that. Now, the Cherokee I had was a really capable small SUV, more capable than this in many ways. However, I probably would not use all of those capabilities, so, you know, no harm, no foul, but didn't really need it. I didn't give up all of those functions by buying a RAV4 in the Adventure trim, because it still has a little bit of a heightened ground clearance. It has an adaptive all-wheel drive system with torque vectoring, they call it. You know, this can deal with slippery roads or dirt roads or mountainous roads, and it can do a good job at it. So these are really hard to find. So RAV4's spec'd out like I wanted it, with either the TRD off-road or the Adventure trim. They're a little hard to find. I shopped around online for local dealerships in my area, and none of them had this trim. They had RAV4s. They had the lower trims. They even had some like limiteds. They had some hybrids, but they didn't have this one. So that's why I went to Carvana. The pros of Carvana is if you have a specific vehicle in mind that's hard to find, you can access their database nationwide and generally find the vehicle you're looking for. But you don't get to look at it, you know, before you start that purchase process. You don't really get to see it in the flesh. You can find it, and you can see pretty decent pictures of it, and there's a description, and they supposedly declare imperfections. But that being said, you can always tell more when you're in person. So that's a little bit of a gamble, but this RAV4 2024, it only has 6,000 miles on it. I was willing to take the gamble. But there are some imperfections on this vehicle that weren't reported on the Carvana description. I'll show you just briefly some of the things that were reported on the Carvana description. This vehicle had some front end damage, and it was reported on there. It was also on the Carfax. It had, you know, a bump or smack in the front of it. The declaration said cosmetic only, but I can tell, and you can tell too, if the light hits it just right, the front bumper is a slightly off color. It's not showing up good on camera, but I can definitely see it. It's a minor thing. Some people would drive them nuts. I'm okay with that. And they declared it, so I knew that right off the bat up front. There were other little imperfections on this vehicle that were declared. Let's see if I can point out one to you. Some little rock chips here and there. There's one on the mirror. I remember that one being on there. See the touch-up paint? Little things like that are reported on there. I found some scratches, like this one. That scratch wasn't on there. And then just moving around the vehicle, there are little things like that. Nothing major that caused me serious concern. There's a very crappy touch-up job on a chip right there. I wish they had just left that. I could have fixed it better myself. There's a scuff down here that was not on there. And there's some discoloration on this panel I noticed when I was cleaning it up. See this panel? This is like stains. Can't get it off. I used several different products and it didn't come off. But that's okay. It's used, you know, not everybody babies their vehicles, and this one was definitely had 6,000 miles put on it, you know, and the people didn't keep it in perfect shape. So big deal, right? So that part didn't upset me at all, really. I mean, you're buying a used vehicle and you are getting sight unseen, so there's a little trade-off. You know, the convenience factor to me superseded that. So let's talk about that purchase. When you buy this your vehicle on Carvana or do your trade, working through the process is super easy. Like, the website works really well. You don't normally have to call and ask people what's going on. It just, it's like almost like a TurboTax software. It asks you questions and moves you through and tells you exactly what you need to complete it. If you are seeking outside financing, that can slow you down a little bit. I financed with Carvana because I wanted it to go quickly. And I already know I'm going to refinance it with my credit union. Carvana's interest rates are very high. For this, I have good credit, 8.5%. You know, terrible interest rate. It's terrible. My credit union can do me for 5.5%. So, but I did that just to get things flowing along a little easier, and I'll refi, and, you know, that didn't upset me either. So let's talk about what does upset me about the process. What upsets me about Carvana is they make it really easy to get into a vehicle, but after it's delivered to you, they're hard on you. You don't have a personal relationship with anyone. If you buy on a car lot, and as annoying as it is, because I hate the car industry, I honestly do. All of it feels like a scam at times. All of it can be frustrating. If you purchase a vehicle on a lot, sometimes it takes hours and hours and hours to move through the process. It's exhausting and draining. And Carvana does offer you some relief from that. But there's no personal relationship after the sale. Like, none. And I'm going to get specific with that. Carvana does have a customer care number that you can call. They have a 24-hour chats. And they have some guarantees for your used car to make you feel comfortable, you know, about taking that chance with a vehicle that you've never seen before. And they offer a 7-day return policy, a 7-day policy where you can return the vehicle, or they'll find you another vehicle just like it, supposedly to give you some peace of mind. They have roadside assistance for 100 days. Carvana backs their car too. They have their own kind of warranty where if you have a mechanical failure or you have a problem with the vehicle, supposedly they back you up. Now, hopefully I won't have to deal with that, because I bought a almost new vehicle with a factory warranty, and I would be much more likely to use that Toyota factory warranty than anything with Carvana. But the personal relationship that you have, you know, at a dealership, you have a salesman that you can talk to, and sometimes the salesmen are hit and miss. You know, they come and they go, or they're not there that day, but you have sales managers, people like that at a dealership you can go to where you can actually get a name, and you can actually get somebody who will at least have some interest in making you happy. So the things that don't make me happy about this purchase are, first of all, the registration. I really wanted to transfer my tags from my old vehicle to this one. And you can do that with Carvana, but you have to go through extra steps, and I didn't know that. Up front with the vehicle purchase price, they include registration, tax, title, and all of that's included. So when I pulled the trigger and started that rolling and completed it, then I thought, oh, I want to transfer my tags. So I called Carvana, talked to a customer service rep, and they said, yeah, sorry, it's too late. You know, we've already started that. So anyway, I'm like, oh, okay, well, my bad. I wish I had, you know, I wish I had seen that or known that, because I would prefer to keep the plate. I had my old plate memorized and everything. It was very convenient. I didn't want another temporary. So the registration is started. That begins at the end of your 7-day trial from Carvana. They don't start that paperwork until the 7 days is up, so that you can trade the vehicle in if you want, or whatever. So during that 7 days, I did have a problem, a question. So my issue was, my vehicle didn't come with a spare tire. I've never had a vehicle that came from the factory with a spare tire that doesn't have one in there. Spare tires are important, especially if you're going to get something like an adventure trim or a TRD off-road, where you might actually find yourself in the mountains. The spare tire was missing, and Carvana put this inflator kit in its place. So there's just a big hole in the back, and this was laying there. So I asked my delivery guy, I'm like, this car doesn't have a spare? And he said, well, you can call our customer service about that, but, you know, ultimately there was no spare in this vehicle when Carvana received it, most likely. And so they don't replace the spare if it's gone. So they do give you this inflator kit. I said, well, that's insufficient. I said, really, I want my spare tire. You know, I want a spare tire. It's important when you're off out there. Those inflator kits and stuff will only get you so far. I want to be able to swap my tire out and not immediately have to go into a service place or what have you. Like, there is nothing you can do about it. That is their policy, that if there's no spare tire in the vehicle, they will not pay to put one in there. So I'm going to have to buy one at my own expense because I want it, you know. I'm not going to be without it. That inflator kit is not sufficient for me. If there's anything in this vehicle from Carvana that's considered removable, it could be gone when you get it. And the pictures might not show you everything that's not there. So that's another thing. Like, you have to pay attention to the pictures they show you, because I got one key also. One key. And you know, it's real expensive to have key fobs made for any vehicle that has the keyless ignition and the, you know, the buttons. The keyless ignition, those are really expensive to make. So I needed a spare key. That's another expense. So we've got the spare tire, the spare key. And yeah, so that was important to me. And Carvana will not work with you because, and you know, they didn't receive it, but they're not going to go out of pocket to provide you, even with these basic things, where if you were working with even a used car dealer, one of those buy here, pay here, or as is, no warranty places, if you were about to close a deal and it was down to just like, I need a spare key, or can you see about getting me a spare tire? Like, they'd probably work with you on that, right? I mean, they'd rather do that and lose your business. And if you've got a reasonable deal in place, and they know Carvana is coming out ahead on this vehicle, no doubt. So why can't their customer care work with you a little bit like that, you know, to earn your business again later down the road? Guys, they do not care about that. They don't give a flip about it. So, and that comes to my next complaint. Back to the registration. So during the 7 days, I really do like this vehicle. I really do. I've driven it, you know, a week. I'm getting acclimated to it now, and it drives well, and I'm excited to do some things with this vehicle. So I'm going to keep it. And to my knowledge, still, no problem. No mechanical issues or anything like that have come up. No lights on the, you know, the nightmare stuff hasn't happened to me. It's just these inconveniences. But the final inconvenience is with that registration. Once they start processing your paperwork, I live in Tennessee. And I wanted to transfer my tags, you know, but I want to make sure that this gets done right, because you want the car properly registered. It's real important. I talked to somebody today about the vehicle registration. I'm like, okay, are you guys putting this in the correct county? Is it in the correct name and everything? And, you know, all my name and everything like that, all that checks out. But my registration is going to say Davidson County, which is Nashville in Tennessee. I'm like, well, why is that? I don't live in Davidson County. That's the main hub of Carvana in Tennessee is in Nashville, where they have a large dealership there, and they can only register and title cars to that county. So if you're in any other county in Tennessee and they ship this car out to you, then you have to pay to register it in the county that you live in. Now, I thought that was just ridiculous myself. I called and I talked to the customer advocates, a lady who is a specialist in registrations, because I'm like, guys, I'm already paying to put a spare tire in this vehicle because you told me you definitely wouldn't provide a spare. So I'm going to go out of pocket to do that. Yeah, I went out of pocket for floor mats too. Whoever had this vehicle had pirated the floor mats, so there were no floor mats. But I usually buy like the WeatherTech brands and stuff. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll get my, but that was an extra expense. And now you're telling me the registration to register it in the county that I live in, I'm gonna have to pay for that too. And they're like, well, that's a Tennessee thing. I'm like, what do you mean it's a Tennessee thing? I don't understand why that's a Tennessee thing. I would have transferred my plates if I had been educated enough at the time to do that. But why do I have to now have a registration in the wrong county? So dumb. So dumb. So anyway, I just feel like they leave you out there, and heaven forbid, if you really do have a problem and you try to use their warranty service, I don't know what that's like. Maybe it's good. I just have my doubts because I really feel like they've left me hanging. And whenever I've called or chatted with someone, it's always been a different person. Each time it's been a different person. And there's just no relationship there. I wrote down the first guy's name I talked to, but each time I've talked to 4 or 5 different people. I didn't write their names down. And not that it matters because none of them can really do anything. Like if you have a complaint, that's their policies, and it's all in their fine print, and you sign for that. When you're going through the convenience of doing the online thing, you're signing these contracts, and it's your responsibility to read those contracts, to go through them in detail and know what you're signing, and either slow yourself down or, it's easy to just go through it and overlook things that are policies, laws, contractual things that you're agreeing to. And sometimes you feel like you can trust a place. Sometimes you can't. And I just don't trust. With Carvana, I just haven't had an experience with their people where they're kind of on my side. It's all just about get you out of here. That's the experience that I've had with them. And I'm not a big complainer. I don't yell or cuss or scream or anything. And you just ask reasonable questions, and they're not gonna help you out, man. So anyway, there are a lot of YouTube videos, and there are nightmare stories, and hopefully this isn't going to be one, because like I said, I like this car. Everything else about the car seems to be fine. I knew it was a used car. I knew it would have blemishes, but the registration, the floor mats, the spare tire, the additional costs that I really didn't want to have to pay right up front after just buying a new vehicle and having a car payment and stuff like that. And the financing is just like, if you really want the best, if you have good credit, you're going to want to refi. You're not going to want to stay in Carvana's with their lenders. I was trying to think of the name of their lender. I got an email from them just today. It's not coming to me. But it doesn't matter. I'm going to refi with them. As soon as I get my registration in the wrong county, I'm going to turn around and do my refi as fast as possible. And, we'll go from there. So would I buy from Carvana again? Next time I get a vehicle, I will not. I will go back to the old school style and try to go find what I want on a lot and deal with whoever it may be. And if I don't feel like I have a relationship with them, I will not buy a vehicle from them. I just need to feel like they got my back, once the deal closes. Carvana's big and impersonal in that way. And that's their model. That's just the way it is. So hope you enjoyed this video. I'll come out with more videos on this RAV-4 when I do things like oil changes. I'm going to add a trailer hitch to it eventually. you know, little doodads like that, I'll make some follow-up videos about. And that's all I got for now. So take care. Thanks.